Today I'm going to talk to you on quick bite number 11, which is about non-repudiation in security architecture. So when you use an enterprise architecture to solve this problem of security within a company, typically they encounter this term called non-repudiation, which actually has to be maintained within the architecture. So let us look at what is non-repudiation. A quick and very quick take on the topic. We can actually discuss that and get a lot of things done, but we are going to just cover what it really means and what is the implication from an enterprise architecture, security architecture point of view when we talk about that term. So non-repudiation essentially means that you're creating some systems of reference within your architecture wherein people will not be able to deny their actions about certain things. Let us say that you sent a mail to some X and you want to claim and let us say at a later point of time you backtrack and say you didn't send the mail and so on. So but if you create a non-repudiation kind of a system, it will have an exact term. It will have a reference saying that this mail was sent from this IP address at this point of time by this user, and this is the contents of the mail. So that kind of traceability should be there in your architecture. So if you're creating that, then that essentially is called as non-repudiation. And it is quite important, and it's widely used in digital forensics typically. So non-repudiation is characteristics of robust security architectures that you need to cater to that when you do digital forensics extensively. So it's slightly different from authentication. So authentication is only if you're authenticated in the system, you would be able to send a message from X to Y can go only if the authentication is working well. But non-repudiation is Y says, I got this message from X and it is from X and not from anybody else, and he can show it to Z, person Z or B, D or XYZ, somebody else in the system. So he can clearly say that this message came from X and these are the characteristics of the message, and this is the point of origin of the message, and so on. So basically this is quite important term. It's quite an important term in security architecture and enterprise architecture when you scope the security architecture using an enterprise architecture framework per se. So there are white papers on how you can use SABSA with TOGAF and how you can solve the problem of security architecture within a large enterprise using the best practices. So I quite like the business attribute profile method that's used in SABSA for security architecture requirements profiling. So that's a whole separate topic. But when you are looking at non-repudiation within the requirements perspective of a security architecture for a large enterprise, then this is what it is. So basically it is saying that you should be able to create a system of reference wherein people should not be able to, people or organizations should not be able to deny their origin of their actions or the data and so on. So this essentially is non-repudiation. It's quite a useful term that's used from a legal contractual perspective as to whether your architecture is supporting non-repudiation. So I remember in one of our projects, we actually had to comply for non-repudiation from one of the large banks. And just because we were not compliant on certain tick marks that were required by the RFC and RFP, we had to rework on all of that. And once things were all okay, we got it right and we got the architecture to be moving. So here is leaving you with this snippet, which is non-repudiation. Quite a useful term in security architectures and enterprise architectures when you're fundamentally solving the problem of security within an organization. So here is, please do like, share, and subscribe this video, and so that it reaches a lot of other people. So stay tuned for more such updates. Thank you very much.